Hi, it's MJ Callaway here with your next issue of Bounce-Up Chronicles. And today I have a special guest in the Bounce-Up studio. And this is a colleague and friend of mine who I have high regards for and much respect, especially when it comes to taking a leap of faith. And he is Jeff Koziatek. So Jeff, welcome to the Bounce-Up studio.
Hey, what's up, MJ? Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
And I'm excited to share some of your journey with our viewers today. So we have been, for the last 3 weeks, talking about leap of faith, and you have taken a big leap of faith. So prior to 2018, or 2018, I guess 2018 still works, you had, I know I caught myself off guard there. So you were doing something that was a lot of fun, but it was pretty hard on you because the amount of time you were given to it. So could you share with us where you were at that time?
Sure. So for about 20 years, I made my living primarily as an entertainer, which meant I was doing 300 to 350 shows every year. In addition to that, I also produced video and I worked in photography. And most of those shows that I would do happen in the summer months, fairs and festivals and various other things, a lot of corporate retreats. And so after doing specifically 200 shows in 3 months, I'd come to the fall and I was just wiped. I was spent physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like everything was just gone. And I always told myself, oh, I can do this. I could do this. But the reality was I just couldn't. And as I grew personally, and as I got really clear about who I was, where my worth came from, what my values were, what my purpose was, I was able to step back and finally be honest and real with myself about what I was doing and why I was doing it. And once I allowed myself the opportunity to be real and honest with me, I was able to start to make some changes. And I moved away from entertainment and more into speaking and coaching because I really wanted to help other people. And then when 2020 hit, I was 2 years into this transition to become more of a coach and less of a performer. But COVID said, hey, why wait? We'll clear your calendar if that's the issue. Now you're free to do what you were going to do anyway, except instead of taking 5 years to get there, we'll just do it now.
So you had a 5-year plan. I didn't realize that. You had a 5-year plan and the pandemic did speed that up a little bit. However, you had started that transition. And what were some of the signs or the symbols or the actions that you had taken to start that transition? Because it was a big transition.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to try to sum this up. As a kid, we're going to go all the way back. As a kid, I received 2 messages. The intentional message was find something you love and make that your job. Mm-hmm. I love art and people, MJ. So anything art and people related, I said yes to. The unintentional message was your value comes from what you do. So if you're not performing in school or in sports or in art or wherever, then we're not paying attention. I put those two together and tied my personal worth and value and significance to what I was doing. So I became a massive workaholic, thus the 350 shows a year. I could not say no to anything that I really enjoyed doing. So I was saying, yes, 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 yes. I had no focus. So by the time 2012 rolled around, I had those 3 businesses, photography, video, performance. I was married and I had kids, and it was not sustainable. I was maxing out. I could not work enough, and yet I had to work more. And so I was wrestling with focus for a long time. And during a radio interview to promote an upcoming event, the host and I were talking off air, and he said, I can help you. And long story short, he helped me craft a new lens, or what I call a new compass, that allowed me to say, oh, well, just because I can do something doesn't mean I should. this is really what I'm all about. What most aligns with that? What most aligns with my values, who I am as a human being, and my personal vision and mission. And so that helped me to start pivoting away from performing to gain applause and significance to how can I help people answer these two questions. What is my worth and where does it come from? Because that's fundamentally what I had been wrestling with for decades. And that's what I saw in all my audience. So I thought, well, let's help them with that as a speaker. And then I thought, well, maybe there's something else we can do beyond just giving them tools. Maybe I can actually walk with them to help them create that sustainable change. So I got certified in coaching with the values conversation from the guy that coached me. I've since added certification with the John Maxwell team, and I've continued to devour books. But it's really all about that, helping people understand that their worth is not external, but it is internal. And because of that, it never changes, and they can stand on that confidently and deal with life's challenges.
So it was not just one day you woke up. It was a journey for you going back to 2012.
Yeah.
And also getting the certification, because that helps with your own content and the way that you help others.
Absolutely. I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole there for a second. when I was pursuing my acting career, I wanted to grow and I wanted to learn. I had a mindset of growth and abundance. I studied in New York. I studied in LA. When I became a performer, a juggler, I learned just enough, but then I stopped learning. Like I stopped trying to improve my juggling skills. I improved in the way that I related to the audience, and I spent time there, but not on the actual craft of juggling. I had a very fixed mindset with that, and I was okay with that, but struggled with the fact that I was okay with that, right? Because everybody said you should learn more, you should keep growing, and I just didn't have the desire. And then moving into speaking, I took what I knew as an actor, and I took what I experienced as a performer, and I applied that to speaking. But everybody said, well, how are you going to improve as a speaker? And I said, well, I'm kind of okay. And I had a fixed mindset when it came to that, which was also kind of weird. But as a coach, I can't get enough. Like, I am all about improving my craft as a coach to better serve my clients and to really get continue to improve and grow my understanding of the human condition, why we do what we do, so I can better help the people that I serve. And there's a tremendous growth and abundance mindset there. And it's just so fascinating to me when I align my worth, my values, my identity and purpose, the mindset, it just fits.
And could that be, because you had said when you were doing juggling, when someone asked you about improving with speaking, was that a sign that you should really go down the coaching lane and like go all in with it, even though you still do speaking because you still help audiences? But was that a sign that your direction was going more into the coaching?
Yeah, when I found energy from that and I recognized, oh my gosh, this really fuels me and really excites me. I get a lot of joy from this. For me, it was a sign that I had found something that was very aligned with who I am as a human being. I enjoy speaking and I enjoy performing. Like now, the performance is a give back, something that I don't charge for. There's a few gigs I take on the old business model, but otherwise it's, you book me as a keynoter, you buy a coaching package, you can give a performance away for free. And that's really exciting.
That is very exciting. And not many people do it. So when somebody hires you, they get you for the hour or half day, whatever they hire you for. In addition, they get the opportunity to give to an organization. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yeah, they can pick a group of kids in their area, anywhere from elementary to college age, and then we can give them a free performance or a free presentation. I believe that everything that we're dealing with comes down to how we see our personal worth. Or do we see ourselves as a full at a 10, or do we see something less? And you can't just stamp that on somebody, MJ. Like
No.
it takes consistency, it takes relationship. And so I thought, why not, giving money is great, giving gifts, computers and all that, that's great. But what if we could give one-on-one interaction and a little bit of a relationship piece there? And so that's what my one-for-one program is all about. And that's really why I focus so much on mindset. Is right now, you and I, we're a 10, whether we feel it or not, whether we experience, whether we're treated as a 2 or a 6, whether we act like a negative number or not, does not change our intrinsic value. Like that's always a 10. But our perception of that changes on a moment-to-moment basis. And what matters is our perception. That really comes down to our mindset. And so if I can help people keep their mindset high, keep their perception high, to understand that they're a 10 always and forever, it changes the choices that we make and how we interact with our relationships.
So with that, is that a mistake that people, when they aren't feeling that they are a 10, is that a mistake? Or what is the mistake people make when it comes to mindset, going after a goal or taking a leap of faith, and they don't quite take that leap of faith? What causes the issue there?
I wouldn't call it so much a mistake as a choice.
Okay.
Right?
Ooh,
I mean,
okay.
Something happens, we experience a feeling, and man, so-and-so just said this about me on social media, or wow, I see, I see James over there, or I see Sarah, I see Tanisha, and they're doing all this amazing stuff. And then look at what I'm doing. My calendar doesn't look as full, or my branding doesn't look as good, or my relationships don't appear to be as great as those relationships I see on Facebook. And when we look at that, when we focus on the circumstance, it can be really easy for our emotions to drop. And when our emotions drop, I call it our personal worth account. Our personal worth account drops. And as soon as there's a gap, we go into this road rage mode. There's a tendency to go into road rage to fill the gap, right? Or to puff ourselves up. And when we allow that perception of a gap to drive our decisions, that's when we get into issues. When I coach people how to juggle, I make the guarantee that I can teach anybody how to juggle 3 balls, as long as we meet 2 requirements. One of those is a desire to learn. So if you don't have a desire, when you run into the issues, you're gonna quit, right? So you need a desire so that you have the resilience to keep moving forward. But the second thing is we have to remove the phrase "I can't." Because as soon as we start saying "I can't do something," we look for any possible excuse or anything to validate that belief. And so somebody might be juggling 3 balls, right? And then they drop, and then they say, "See, I can't do it. I dropped." And the focus shifts from the goal, right? The focus shifts from the desire, and it goes totally to the mistake, to the circumstance. And then they hang out there, and that's not a growth mindset. That's not an abundance mindset. That's fixed. It's very scarce. And not only do we go out of our way to prove that to other people, but we prove that to ourselves. And it's really just a mindset thing. Are you looking up here, or are you looking? I don't know if I can do this on. When you're balancing something, right? The only way to balance that is to keep my eyes focused on the goal, on the dream, on where I'm headed, on my vision. But if I'm focused down here on my hand, on what I'm experiencing on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't work. We just beat ourselves up over and over again.
Well, and it's like a basketball player. Instead of putting that hand in the hoop and looking at that hoop, they take their eyes off of it. They take their hand off of the hoop, the line of the hoop, and they miss. So same thing.
Right. And in American culture today, we value performance. We value image, and we lift that up and we celebrate that. So that's why I don't call it a mistake. It's natural to fall in line with that general thinking and start looking at our performance, looking at our success, our failures, the circumstances that we've overcome, and we look to that for our source of value. So that when we come up against mistakes, and we will inevitably make a mistake,
Definitely.
It is natural to focus on the mistake. It is natural to look at that and say, this is who I am. But the reality is it's not.
And it just takes us one step closer to hitting our goal.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have a tip or two that you would give our viewers for them to take with them in a way of either changing their mindset or believing in themselves or keeping that 10, that they are a 10 in mind? What could you share?
Absolutely. There are two things. The one thing is super simple, and people are it might be very easy to dismiss it, and you've probably heard it a lot. So don't, I know you're going to roll your eyes, but don't. But it's the breathing piece, right? Because when our mindset shifts into scarcity, or when we get fixed, or we get so focused on what's not going right, that tends to lead to stress, to worry, to anxiety, and that builds up in our body. So to stop for a second and breathe 3 times, you don't need any training for this. You literally breathe in for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, you breathe out for a count of 6. If you do that 3 times in a row, that'll quiet your body. As your body calms down, it gives your brain a chance to pause and reframe the situation so you can gather information and move forward. I know everybody says it. I know. But the reality is breathing works, and you don't have to go to school to learn how to do that.
And the issue with that is most people don't do it because they think it's too simple, that it won't work, or it won't work for them. However, simplicity does work.
Right? We want all these things to do. No, give me an action item. Give me 6 steps. Give me the 12-step program. Give me this, or give me an essential oil to smell, or whatever. Even essential oil smelling might seem a little too simplistic for people. But the reality is quieting your body so that your brain has a chance to respond versus react is a really, really big deal for mindset. The second thing I would suggest is habit 52 from my book, Blueprint for Value, and that's #wash your brain.
Which means?
It means reminding yourself who you are, what you value, what your worth is, and what your purpose is, your vision and mission. When I'm coaching people, I help them to describe or define their personal unique compass, understanding their worth, values, vision and mission, and their identity. When you can remember that, this helps you stay focused on the top, on your goals, on where you're headed, versus the circumstances that you find yourself in. Because we can't always choose our circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. And
Definitely.
Without this, it's difficult to respond. It's a lot easier to react. So it would be that reminder, that #wash your brain. You are now, have always been, and will always be a 10.
I love that. Now you held up, that's a compass that you had made or coined.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we talked about that. So could you? It's awesome.
Thank you.
And again, it is, can you give us the 4 parts to that compass?
Absolutely. So I help people identify their compass. Their compass is 4 parts. It's understanding your worth, that you're a 10 now and always, what you value personally, professionally, and relationally, who you are, your identity, who you are as a human being, apart from the roles that you play, apart from the labels that have been put on you or that we put on ourselves, and then understanding your purpose, which I break down to as your vision and mission. Your vision is why you're here, and your mission is how you're going to do it. Now, understanding that allows you to then use the catchphrase of 2020, pivot, make those changes. Without a clear compass pointing to true north, no matter what you face, no matter what uncertainty you find yourself in, it'll tell you to go here or go here. But without this, you try to change, it's like turning on gravel or on sand or on ice. it's going to take out a lot of collateral damage. So that's your compass.
And we know it works because I'll say shift instead of pivot, because that's one of those 2020 words I don't want to use. Right. So it does work. That 4-part compass works because you are a great example of how you have shifted from doing 350 entertainment venues a year into being this amazing mindset catalyst coach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the encouragement. But to add to that, so your purpose has got your why and your how. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that I believe that really doesn't change. For me, my why is to empower and encourage other people. Now, how am I going to do that? I'm going to set the example and teach anyone who wants to learn. Now, that plays out in my what. So the what might look like performance. It might look like coaching. It might look like speaking. It might look like writing books, right? It might look like producing video. The what can change. The what does change through seasons in life, through circumstances to opportunities that are available to us. But fundamentally, understanding my why and the how. If ultimately I'm here to empower and encourage other people, then I'm going to do that by setting the example, not doing it perfect. Just this is me. I'm growing, owning my failures, owning the successes, and continuing to move forward, not being defined by either one of them. Mm-hmm. Teaching anybody that wants to learn, like that allows me so much flexibility and freedom to handle whatever life has to throw at me.
And we're humans, we're not robots, so none of us will be perfect.
Right?
That's life, and life can be unpredictable, and what we might do one day could be different than what we would do the next.
Absolutely. If you don't have a compass, if you find your identity in the what and what you're doing, if you find your worth in the way that you've had a career for, say, 20 years as a performer, and then COVID says, no more, it is difficult to continue to move forward, because if that's your value and your identity, who are you apart from that?
Right. You've lost it.
But it's right here.
It is. So, Jeff, could you tell us the name of your book again?
Sure. The book is called Blueprint for Value, 52 Habits to Discover and Strengthen Your Personal Worth. It's available on Amazon as a Kindle, an ebook, or in paperback. You can get there through my website, coreauthenticity.com. There's a link there to buy either one of them.
That's awesome.
You can also find out more about the speaking and coaching there too. And the 1-for-1 program.
What? There you go. Definitely check out Jeff's website. In fact, he was recently awarded, what was it? You were in the top 20? What was it? Yes. I'm not quite sure what the title was. Could you go ahead and share that before we sign off?
Yeah, it was the top 25 speaker websites alongside Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins, all these other people. I was like, holy cow. I mean, I was just bowing down to everybody else on the list, and just so humble and thankful that mine made it.
What an honor.
Right? Holy cow.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing with my Chronicle members. I really appreciate it. This is MJ Callaway signing out. As always, until next time, make it a bounce up day.